Ms. Solis, you and Enterprise Community Partners are also on the ground in local communities across the nation, and you all have been in the forefront of trying to create an affordable housing regime in this nation. Talk a little bit about your thoughts about solutions for the crisis.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for inviting us to be here today. Just picking up on some of the important points that Mayor Hall raised, much of the focus of the debate to date and the solutions have been on keeping families in their homes, and obviously that is the #1 priority. But what we've learned after 30 years or so of coming back from the damaging effects that redlining had and things that Congressman Waters mentioned in the past is that whole communities are really suffering, and concentrations of these foreclosed properties are really turning into a tsunami, mostly targeted at low-income communities of color. And that has been the focus that we've been working on, and that is driving both policy solutions and local pilot programs, working with nonprofits, partners like the Urban League, NeighborWorks America, and with mayors and states around the country to try to develop large-scale solutions. One of our strongest champions in this effort was Congresswoman Waters. Without her efforts, we would not have the $4 billion that are coming to mayors and states and hopefully local communities in the next 30 to 60 days to help address this challenge. With 2 million plus foreclosures underway and no real policy solutions at the moment to really address modifications, we have a real challenge with just dealing with these vacant properties and the negative impacts they have on whole communities. In addition to the problems related to the local tax base that gets lost from vacant properties, you know, the existing families that are staying in those neighborhoods stand to lose enormous amounts of wealth as they see their property values drop as well. So we're working with the Congress and with organizations from civil rights all the way to the community development movement to say we can't forget about these neighborhoods, and we need to find wholesale solutions to deal with these vacant properties. The $4 billion will help in that effort, but we need solutions working with servicers and banks, because they need to be able to sell these properties to mission-oriented organizations that will rehabilitate them and help provide affordable rental and homeownership opportunities for families that are in those communities and for those families that might have lost their homes.
Good. Thank you very much, Ms. Solis. Let's give her a hand.
I'll just talk about one program that HUD has run effectively. It's a small program and needs to be really expanded, and that is called the Asset Control Area Program. Frankly, thanks to the leadership of Congress, back in the 90s when FHA was the owner, now we have sort of the servicers in the banking industry as the owner of many of these foreclosed properties. Back in those days, FHA had a significant portfolio of foreclosed properties in African American and low-income communities across the country. We fought hard with Congress to say the federal government has an obligation to discount these properties, to work with local cities, qualified nonprofit organizations in a concentrated way to target those properties and put them back into the hands of communities. And so the Asset Control Area Program is one model that does exist, needs to be expanded, and is something that can be learned from at HUD. And we're encouraging HUD to, well, what makes it work is HUD doesn't have much to do with it. They turn it over to local cities and nonprofits who are then able to rehabilitate them and put them back into productive use.
You know, I'll offer.
My name is Felicia Brown, and I am a real estate broker from California. And a bill was recently passed that prevents seller contribution on FHA loans, leaving programs like the Nehemiah program, HEART, and Grant America programs null and void, where banks can get a credit back through a non-for-profit for giving a qualified borrower the down payment funds. It just seems to me that that doesn't make sense, in the sense that that was a win-win situation for everyone. The homes sitting on the market get moved, banks are lending again, crime goes down because homes aren't sitting empty, aesthetics improve, property taxes paid. Can anyone shed some light as to why that provision was in that bill, and what can we do to get that changed?
Any comments, Ms. Solis? No comments.
Just one comment, which is I think we need lots of tools in the toolbox. I can't speak to the rationale for why that was removed. I know that folks like Congressman Waters are looking at solutions to provide new tools that help with seller financing. And one issue that wasn't addressed here, Mark, I think is important that we need to look at, which is this situation also means we need to look at new effective tools to ensure that the credit that's been extended continues, and we develop products that make sense so that we don't see a decline in homeownership ownership, particularly for low-income and minority families.
I do know.
Most of you in the room are really pioneering the kinds of solutions that we need to really take to scale across this country. I encourage you to get involved, not just in the election, but also in reaching out to your members of Congress and other elected officials to talk about the impacts that this is having on your lives and those lives of your community. So thank you for having us.